and gents, boys and girls, welcome back to the South Stand View. Before we go any further, as I start off every show by saying, please make sure that you are liking, commenting and subscribing and pressing the notifications bell. Charlie, if you don't press it, that makes you a what?
A bell end.
Correct. Charlie knows what the score is. I think Mikey called him a nonce last time, which was a little bit harsh. I did that introduction, but we move. But first of all, Charlie, how are we, mate?
Yeah, all good. A rare day off work.
Yeah.
So I've just enjoyed a bit of chill time before the madness of the weekend arrives. But yeah, all good. Obviously, Mike's not with us. You what? Sorry.
You've got a busy weekend.
A very busy weekend, yeah. But Mike is not with us. I think Isaac was saying off air he's off doing naked portraits again. You just can't get enough of them.
He's fully booked.
It's I mean, it's a very demanding sort of job, I guess.
Well, especially the poses he puts them in as well. Like I've seen a few like downward dogs and that. So
yeah. We've seen a few of his drafts in our WhatsApp chat, and it's not a pretty sight. But yeah, other than that, mate, yeah, I'm all good. Excited for what should be a routine win at Elland Road tomorrow, but I'm sure we'll get into it in more specifics, won't we, mate?
Cardiff, mate, yeah. Certainly looks like the type of game that we should be winning. I mean, at home, we seem to be quite strong. So on the square ball, I know we like to mention them guys a bit. We were saying off air that they're the OGs of Leeds United podcast. So we'll touch on what they said briefly. They said that they've got us winning all our remaining home games.
And I heard that one, yeah, which I thought was quite of a bold shout, but I liked it.
Then they listed who we've got left, and I was thinking, you know what? We should really be winning the majority, all of these home games. But Cardiff are on a bit of a turn, mate, since they sacked that Errol Bullitt. I mean, if you remember when we played him at their place, that was his last game. But thoughts of Cardiff, mate, and how for me, they were dead and buried, mate, when we played them. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I thought, it was early in the season, like to contextualize it, but up until the point we played them, I said that they were easily the worst team we'd played at that point. Didn't really offer anything, like zero threat in that game whatsoever. I think it was Largey and the Spliffmeister who scored in that game, which I remember at the time a lot of people weren't happy about that. It was only 2-0 and that we didn't really put them to the sword. But again, 3 points is 3 points at the end of the day. But yeah, I had a look at their form earlier, and it is actually very similar to ours in sort of the last 5 league games. I think we've both drawn 3 and won 2. So we're both coming into it in similar form. So it should make for a bit of a competitive game. But I'm being totally honest here. I think it's probably just going to be like every other home game we've seen, where they're probably just going to come and hope to get a point or potentially catch us on the counter attack if they can. But I expect a controlled performance from Leeds. And the game on Monday night wasn't exactly the most thrilling, which I'm sure we'll touch upon maybe at some point. But yeah, I'm expecting 3 points, mate, 100%. How about you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, mate, I am fully expecting 3 points. I mean, they've had a good run since they appointed the manager. What's his name here? Omar Reza. We don't really know a lot. I think he's on a contract till the end of the season, but the way he's turned them around, maybe they should extend that a bit. But he was like assistant manager at Leyton Orient, so he hasn't had like a great fucking turn of a career so far. But he seems to be doing all right at Cardiff, so fair play to him. But like you say, mate, when they come to Elland Road and how we've been playing at home this season, apart from the blip of the Burnley game and Ilhan Millier's howlers, we should be putting these to the sword, mate. They're still 18th. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's usually Easter when we come unstuck at like Cardiff, innit?
Let's just enjoy it while it lasts. Just enjoy it while it lasts.
Who was the fat guy that used to play for them? Is it Lee Tomlin, or did he play for someone else?
Yeah, Lee Tomlin, I think. Yeah,
mate.
God, there's a throwback.
It might have blast from the past. But yeah, mate, I'm just hoping that it all goes to plan and we come away with 3 points. Then we can move on to facing Fat Frank and his new mate Matt on Wednesday.
Yeah, old Matt Grimes there, who's joined forces with another character, I'll say. But yeah, I mean, just going back to Burnley, mate. Obviously, you couldn't make it for the reaction to that. You were a little bit worse for wear, weren't you, mate? But before we get into Cardiff more specifically, mate, just share your thoughts on that thrilling encounter at Turf Moor.
If I said cancel each other out, I just think that'd be too simple to say. I mean, I don't really think we had any clear-cut chances, but neither did they. It was like the most back and forth, side-to-side fucking game. Glenn Kamara would have been in his absolute fucking element playing in that game.
He'd have loved it.
He'd have loved it, mate. He'd have had 500 completed passes, and he'd have probably got man of the match. Who did get man? Oh, it was that Estevez, wasn't it? That got man of the match.
Which I couldn't really argue with that. Really, I think I know they've kind of got to do a man of the match when it's on Sky like that, but if they hadn't given it to anyone, I think that'd have been fair as well. To be honest, no one really stood out to me.
No, I think they've got him down as like one of the best centre halves. I think Mikey's quite hot on him, in saying he's like one of the best centre halves in the division. But
he is.
Was it a penalty, mate, on Byram? I know you probably discussed it with Mikey already, but nah, not for me either, mate.
It wasn't for me. Now, Mike was very pro penalty on that. He thought it was, and I don't know. I've seen it back a few times, and objectively, if you take your Leeds hat off and you look at it as a neutral, if that was happening against your team, you'd be very pissed off, wouldn't you? If it was given against you, so it was a bit soft. I get why Byron went down and maybe half appealed for it, because you have seen stuff like that given, I guess, but not for me, mate. No, but can we just briefly touch upon another character who works for Sky Sports by the name of Don Goodman?
He's a Leeds fan, though.
Well, is he? Because have you seen? They interviewed him, I think, it might have been Tuesday, the morning after.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm not being funny. They were speaking about Burnley as if they were on verge of qualifying for Champions League or something like that. It was that they were so up their asses. Oh, a great defensive display. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. They did defend well, but so did we. Like, there were two teams playing that night. You know, Leeds defended well as well, and it's all right defending that well. But when you know, they were the home team, and it's come out since then that I've seen online that that's their 6th 0-0 draw at home all season.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm a season ticket holder at Elland Road and I'm watching Leeds draw 0-0 6 times, there would be absolute mayhem in South Stand, every stand. You know, if you're a season ticket holder and you're going and watching that every week, I mean, fair play to Burnley fans that do it, but it proper rattled me. I was just thinking, how can you enjoy? I mean, fair enough. If they get promoted, you can argue it's worked, but it's just like if you were a season ticket holder at Burnley, mate, could you go and watch that dross every week? You can't be excited going to a game, can you? You can't.
No, mate. But what's the alternative in Burnley? Do you know what I mean? I don't think they've got much.
I get that, mate. I get that, mate. But when you've got Scotty Parker,
Cardi Parker
in his little cardigan, and don't get me wrong, I agreed with the praise that they were giving Burnley for how well they defended, because they did defend well, and I get that you build from the back, but just in an attacking sense, they didn't try to win the game, and they were the home team. I just find it, even if you get unstuck, you know, I feel like you've got to take more risks at home. I don't know about you, mate, but just in general, if you're playing at home, you've got to take more risks. Surely.
Yeah, mate. Do you think because their defensive record now is so popular and well talked about, do you think they're just so keen to defend that they're not really worried about going forward per se? Would you put that on them or not?
Potentially. There's an argument there. I mean, I was speaking to my uncle earlier, and he kind of said a similar thing, in a sense of he thinks that, and I tend to agree, actually. I think when Burnley do eventually concede, because they will concede, I think they'll probably concede maybe 2 or 3, like in quick succession. I think it'll just, as soon as that first goal's conceded again, it could just be a domino effect. And I think that could be the case. I think the Reds will go once they know they've conceded, but we'll soon see. think they've got Portsmouth away tomorrow, so you'd argue that's a winnable game for them.
I think they'll lose that. I'll go on record now and say I reckon he's done a bit of a Mourinho, mate, recently. He's got him right out the shit out of Portsmouth, I think. Decent manager. Well, he got a point at Elland Road, didn't he? So fucking hell. But
that feels like ages ago now, doesn't it? That game.
It was, mate, wasn't it? Or first game.
We
were off down, mate. But quick question for you, mate. If Burnley get promoted, do you think out of the 3 teams that go up, we'll say us, for argument's sake, Sheffield United and Burnley, with their current defensive record, do you think they've probably got the best system to survive in the Premier League? Or do you just think that it's going to depend on who brings what in? But purely system-based, I mean, if we played the same way we play now in the Premier League, mate, we'll be done by Christmas. I'm not sure if you agree or what.
I don't know if I'd go that far in terms of us. I get that. I think we'd definitely have to adapt the tactics in the Premier League, but that's the same for any team that gets promoted, I think. But in terms of Burnley, yeah, you might have a point there, but I think they can get away with defending like that in the Championship. But I feel like when they start coming up against Haaland, Salah, Isak, Cole Palmer, players like that, then it is going to be a different story. I do get the point. Maybe if they build on that defensive structure in the Premier League, it could do them some wonders. But again, it's all if buts and maybes at the minute. And I do think if Burnley were to be in the playoffs, I think it would be them that came up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as long as we're in that top 2, I couldn't give a fuck about Burnley, to be honest with you.
Nah. I'll be watching it with enjoyment, mate. I missed it last year watching the playoffs with enjoyment. I usually like it around May time where it's just pressure's off. We're either getting relegated or in the playoffs, mate. The past 2 years, so I've been a bit pissed off watching them. But I'm looking forward to hopefully this year watching. Do you watch them all, mate? I watch them all, like the finals at least. Anyway,
I'll only watch if we're included. To be honest with you. Or I might watch the Championship playoff. I won't watch like League One or League Two or all like that.
Yeah, mate. Then I think I've watched the conference one before, and I was a bit like, "Fucking hell, this is a bit down." I think I watched it when Wrexham were in it, mate. So it was a bit like, no, they lost. I think Salford, mate. When Salford lost, then I was happy. But moving on, mate. There has been a little bit of, I won't say transfer news because we don't know anything about it, but Popey, Barron from The Athletic have said...
Actual sources. Sources. Yeah.
Not fucking Joe Tiffany or some other guy that's come out recently. I don't think his name. Cameron Archer, mate. Would you be happy with that?
I would. I would be very happy with that. But I'm not getting my hopes up on it. Because all the noise coming from the Southampton end is that he's either staying or even if he does go, then it's not going to be to us. But yeah, I would definitely take him. The season that he had at Borough, I think it was, where he scored like 18 goals that season. So he's experienced in the Championship. He knows what it's about. Weirdly, I think you said off air that he's actually Southampton's top scorer, yet he's not getting on the pitch under the new manager. Yeah, so it is a strange one. I think if he's looking at the Championship as an option, I think Sunderland have been rumoured to be interested as well. If you're looking at Leeds or Sunderland, it's a no-brainer for me, and that's not just because I'm a Leeds fan. You'd probably, from his point of view, you'd want to be coming into a team that's actually got more chance of going up, let's say, than what Sunderland do. And yeah, but it's if he would be happy to come in and not start games straight away, because again, I've seen a lot of journals saying that he's open to a move, but only if it's for regular starting time. So how about you, mate? Firstly, do you think we'll actually do it?
No. And that means I don't think we'll get anyone else either. It seems to be the Leeds way that we always go after one player, mate, and if that doesn't come off, then tough shit, really. But no, I can't see it happening. I really, really would like it to happen. I think as soon as the news broke from Popey and that, I put in the group chat, It's that simple. If we sign Archer, we win the league. Like,
I believe that as well. Yeah, but, I believe that if we get in through door, I think you might as well just announce it.
Yeah,
to be honest,
mate,
I think I'd be that confident. I'd be that confident if we got him through the door. But another name that got mentioned as well, which was a really strange one, was Matt Targett at Newcastle. It's been shut down, but I was just thinking, like, why, if we're going to sign a player, why would you go for left back when we've got cover? For me, if Matt Targett had walked through the door, you might as well have sent Isaac Schmidt packing, because I don't know what that man has got to do to get on the pitch.
I think that might have been a case of maybe we had a bid or a bit of interest in Firpo and we were looking to cash in. Maybe, and we were just making sure that someone like Matt Targett was maybe available to do late in the window, because apparently on the Newcastle end, he is still very available, but it looks like we're maybe not going to do it. But I was speaking to Big Gaz about it, and I said, if you look at Matt Targett, he went in at Villa when they were like trying to survive first few seasons in the Premier League, and then he went in at Newcastle when they were fighting relegation. So I said, when we go up, it might not be a bad idea if we look at targeting players like that, excuse the pun, Target, to try and like make a stay, like Chris Wood type signings. I know he's doing very well for Forest at the time, but Burnley, they were always fighting for survival. Then he went to Newcastle when they were promoted to try and stay up. And then, Forest, mate, again. So targeting them type of players, mate. I don't know your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think there may have been just testing the water to see maybe about a future move in the summer. I think, like you've said, I think if we got him after getting promoted, I wouldn't necessarily think he'd be a starter, but I think he'd just be someone to have as part of the squad. I think, like you've said, he's gone into some difficult situations in the past. It's not like he'd be new to the situation. He obviously knows that if he come to Leeds in the Prem, that it would be a case of just fighting to stay in the league. I think they've probably just sounded it out just to see if there's potential for a move maybe in a few months' time, personally, on that one.
It seems like a bit of a Premier League version of Sam Byram to me, mate. I don't know if you're into that or what.
Yeah, I agree. He's certainly someone that's done rounds. And like you say, if we did get promoted, I would be happy to have him as part of the squad. I think it'd be a good bit of experience to get in.
Yeah, mate. That pretty much. There's no more noise about anybody unless it's broke in the last fucking few minutes, and we're here. But what worries me about the Cameron Archer deal, mate, if we're going back to him, is Borough seem to be getting quite a lot of money for Latte Laugh going to Atlanta, which is again a bit of a weird move because they've just signed Almer on as well.
It just shows that the player's just got no ambition, in my opinion. At the age that he is, you'd think he'd maybe want to go to either a better championship team or maybe a team that's maybe lower end Premier League to try and show off his skills. I think the fact that he's going to the MLS just to have a good time at the age that he is just shows the lack of ambition, in my opinion. So yeah,
it's not as bad as John Durant.
That's even crazy. I mean, I have a different sort of opinion on that, but I personally think, obviously, Arsenal have tried to get Ollie Watkins. We are going a bit off subject here, but
we always do,
as we always do. But Arsenal have made a bid for Ollie Watkins, apparently.
Yeah.
If I were Villa, I'd rather let Watkins go than Duran, personally.
Apparently, he's a bit of a wanker of bloke, Duran.
Yeah, but at least Watkins is a bit older.
29.
So you think, exactly, and you think, surely you accept 60 million for a 29-year-old striker. John Duran, every time he's come on for Villa, he's scoring goals, he's having an impact, he does look a good player, and he's younger as well.
21, mate.
So, exactly, I don't get, and again, he's only 21 and he's choosing to go to Saudi. I mean, he'll only do probably a year and then he'll be back in Europe. That seems to be the pattern for good players that go there. They just do a year, they get a bit of money, and then they think, yeah, it's shit now, and we'll come back. But anyway, enough about the Premier League and the Saudi League and all that.
Yeah.
There's a game at Elland Road tomorrow.
There is, mate, and we've discussed Cardiff, mate. We feel like we're getting the job done. So, should we go into our predicted 11s, mate? What we think is going to happen?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, go on.
So, Elland in goal, obviously, best keeper in the league.
I'd go Alex Cairns, but yeah.
Yep, we'll agree to disagree, mate, on that one. I think Elland is best in the world. Right back, JB.
Yeah, who I think isn't getting spoken about enough, really, for the performances that he's put in recently. I know Fark said that he's been player of the match for the last 10 games or so. I won't go that far, but certainly since the turn of the year, I think we've seen a vast improvement in Bogle. Yeah. You can really see the player that we signed now. I think it probably just took him a bit longer to get settled, which I guess is fair enough. But I think now we're really starting to see his true colours shine through. I think him and Dan James down that right hand side is a lethal partnership, and it has really been enjoyable to see that progress. So yeah, it will definitely be Bogle at right back.
Centre halves, obviously Rodon and Ampadu. Left back, Matt Target.
Or could it be Rodon and Strauch because he's back in contention?
I'd start Pasc on the bench personally. I don't want to rush him too soon.
Yeah, a few pals of mine said that as well, but my opinion on it is, and I'm not saying I do this, I actually kind of agree. I think it's a game where we could kind of afford to maybe just give him a little bit more of a rest, but I think Farker will see it as if he's fit, he's playing. And
he seems to be like that. He's got his favourites. Favourites are fit.
He wants Ampadu to be back in the midfield as well, I think.
So if we're starting Strauch at centre half, Ampadu was obviously starting in midfield. Who with?
Tanaka.
Drink.
Yeah.
I think he'll start Rafa for some reason. You said Tanaka's been shit recently as well in the group chat. You was like, "You're fucking rubbish. This kid's getting gone."
I didn't at all, guys. Ignore him. I didn't. He's a generational talent, and I won't have anything else said about him. We've not touched upon left back. I think Firpo comes back in for this.
Yeah.
I was a bit not annoyed, but that Burnley game, the fact that he played, and I'm not just saying it because I am a fan of him, but the fact that he played Gruev and Byram kind of showed his cards for me that he were happy to take a point pre-game. Yeah. Whereas I think this game is winnable. It's at home. And unlike Burnley, Leeds actually want to win home games. So, yeah, I think it will be Firpo. And, yeah, I think if Strike plays centre-half, I think it'll be Ampadu and Tanaka. But if Ampadu ends up playing in the defence, I think he'll go back to a Rothwell-Tanaka double pivot.
I hope so, mate. We don't want to see too much of Gruev. Well, you definitely don't want to see too much of Gruev, mate. But, yeah. Wide options, we're going with the obvious two.
Yeah, providing there's not been any injuries since his press conference, yeah. I think it will be Dan James and Solomon. Although, again, given the quality of opponent, do you maybe change it up a bit? I don't know. But yeah, I think, like you said, he has his favourites, doesn't he? He doesn't really like to change unless he has to. So I think it probably will be DJ and Solomon, yeah.
In the 10, Cameron Archer.
No, it'll be Feed the Rat, won't it? Feed the Rat.
FTR, as Tricky Mickey calls him. And then up front, League 2 Matty.
No, it'll be the Spliffmeister General.
Spliffmeister General. I'm just checking, mate. Baron, see if there's been any.
But saying that, could this be a game for Joseph to play from the start? Who knows?
Who knows, mate? But hopefully, I don't know, whoever starts, mate.
Just going back to Burnley, just briefly, just about a certain player. Brendan Aronson frustrated the living hell out of me against Burnley. Yeah, just the decision making was just shocking. And and it just feels like he couldn't control the ball at all that night, and it just screamed out to me that we desperately need a number 10, even if it's someone just to compete with him. I don't know what your thoughts were on him on Monday night, but it was just another frustrating one for me.
Exactly the same, mate. I feel like that was the Brendan we knew in the Premier League. Like, decision making not great, and then whenever he got challenged on the ball, he used to hit the deck, mate, and we started complaining. And I was like, "Fucking hell, I haven't missed this." But yeah, mate, I agree 100%. But where were we? Oh, we've completed the team now, mate. So
we have.
Should we just got mutual players. I know we thought of a few off air. Leeds and Cardiff.
Leeds and Cardiff, past and present, maybe, but no, it's all past really. But I went for Lee Peltier. Yeah, obviously, Sol Bamba, God rest his soul.
You gave an interesting one, mate. We found out he didn't play for.
I thought he did, but I know he's managed them, definitely. I said Steve Morrison. I thought Steve Morrison had played for Cardiff, but he's a Millwall bastard, isn't he?
He is a big man.
But he did manage Cardiff in his brief, shitty managerial career. But yeah, I can't think of any others, to be honest with you.
All right, here we go. I've got the list.
Peltier and Sol Bamba are probably the only ones I can think of.
Right, Cody Drama.
Oh yeah, he went on loan, didn't he?
Tony Capaldi. He's a League One for you, mate. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Hasselbank played for Cardiff.
Yeah, I think at the very end. Yeah.
I'm going to say, who?
John Charles.
Oh, John Charles. Right, okay.
And one that we did forget, Ross McCormack.
Oh, yeah. Ross McCormack. God, yeah. Yeah.
Right, mate.
You know, like we said earlier, I think it is definitely a game that Leeds should be winning, is this. I know they're in a bit of good form. They'll be on a high after beating Swansea, won't they? Not that long ago, but yeah, it just simply has to be a win, doesn't it? Let's be honest. It's just got to be a win.
Can you name any of their players, mate? I think I only know one in Callum Robinson. That's about it.
Joe Rolls.
Is he still there, is he?
Yeah, Joe Rolls, Callum Robinson. And yeah, that's where that ends for me. Yeah.
Craig Bellamy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they're just a standard championship set of bastards, aren't they? So
yeah. There to fill the numbers up, mate. But I would like, please, Charles, your score predictions and scorers, mate.
Well, I'd ask you for yours first, but I can pretty much guess what yours will be. Do you have your sign there?
I've lost my page. I need to turn the.
That's a sign of fate. Is that? That's fate.
No, we found it. We're all right.
Oh, you found it, right? So, score prediction. I'll go 3-1.
3-1. Scorers, mate.
Scorers. I think Dan James will score.
Okay.
I think the Spliffmeister will score as well. I think it's a game where he could have an impact.
He's been due one, mate.
He's definitely due one, so yeah. And
he's Swansea, isn't he?
Exactly, ex-Swansea. So yeah, I'll go Dan James, who's also ex-Swansea.
Yeah, Roden, also ex-Swansea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so James, Perot, and I'll go Solomon. He's in good form at home, so I'll say Solomon again. How about you, mate?
I was about to say Solomon's ex something else, but we'll leave that. Yeah, I'll agree with Dan James. Well,
yeah, 4-0.
Yep.
For those that are listening on the audio, that's Isaac saying 4-0. Yeah.
Yep, 4-0, mate. No, I'll go 2-1. 2-1 Leeds. Manor and Dan James, mate. I think we'll have another frustrating.
You're going for a closer game. You're going for a closer game than me.
No, not really, mate. I think we'll batter them. I just think that they might nick one late on, just to make us a little bit nervous.
Anything's possible with old hologram in goal, I guess.
Exactly. Exactly, mate. Hologram at the near post is trademark fucking error.
Basically.
Mano, Dan James, Callum Robinson penalty or something, mate. I don't know if he's on pens for them, but yeah.
I think we'll leave it there then. I think we've discussed everything that we wanted to discuss. Hopefully Mike will be with us on Sunday once he's finished his portraits.
He's a busy man, mate, with them naked fucking
and
portraits.
Just to pre-warn, I will be in a very bad way on Sunday, I reckon.
Charlie's being one of Mike's, what's it called, mate? Is not students. I'm trying to think of the word. Exhibits.
Yeah, right? Exhibits. Yeah. So, yeah.
Charlie's basically waxed everywhere.
I'm celebrating my engagement tomorrow night. For those that are wondering, so yeah, I will be.
Weird way to celebrate that, mate, to be honest. Getting drawn by Mike.
Yeah, I just thought I'd change it up a bit, just the
keep
eccentric that I am. But yeah, I'll be at Elland Road, and then I'll be out. So I might be a bit worse for wear on Sunday, but I will still be here in this chair, even if it is with all the lights switched off.
There you go, guys. Yeah. If we don't hear from Charlie, you can all message him, call him the shit house now, because he said he'll be here. So
I'll definitely be here, 100%. I will be here. I might just not be in the best of form, but I will be here.
Me and Mike will keep it together.
But yeah, as Isaac said at the beginning, guys, please make sure, if you haven't already, that you are liking, commenting, and subscribing. We're almost at 200 subscribers on YouTube, so if you could subscribe, that would be amazing. And if you are going to listen on like Apple or Spotify, then give us a follow on there as well. Hopefully it is 3 points against the Sheepshaggers tomorrow. And if we don't see you through a week, we'll see you through Winder, and we'll see you on Sunday. Cheers.